Previously on The Devil on G-String.
A giant strode through the ranks of beasts before pouncing in front of me. Hi, Dad! Fancy seeing you here!
貴様か。
Gonzo let go of me and walked toward Tokita.
その通り。私は魔王を知っているわ。
お前が時田の娘だな。
ええ。父さんとお知り合いなの。
My body had merely moved before my mind could comprehend fear.
ハザイさん
Just get out of here! Usami seemed to grasp the situation. Dilly-dallying around here would be truly idiotic. She quickly pulled Tokita by the arm.
面白い。俺は完全に油断していたぞ、京介。何があった？
I don't know. I couldn't answer. My classmates' faces just came to mind. Tsubaki, Kanan, Shiratori, Tokita. The tears rolling down their cheeks had spurred me on somehow.
ハザイさん、すみません。
で、どうするのだ、京介。
You're testing me, aren't you? What will I do? He's asking about the future. What future does someone who bore his fangs at Gonzo have?
お前は金を貯めて母を迎えるつもりだった。
I timidly nodded.
そんなお前にとって残念な知らせが先ほど届いた。
Don't you dare tell me she's dead. What?
死んだぞ。
Fuck you! My beautiful mother. The woman who hugged me tightly as I shook from the cold. The woman who gave her body and soul to protect me from that monstrous man. Her head was caved in. Yet it was definitely Mom. Despite recuperating at home after a diagnosis of severe clinical depression, she apparently suddenly gathered her things and dashed outside at 7 p.m., the day of the accident. They found a plane ticket to Tokyo's Haneda Airport on her person. It seemed she planned to take the red-eye to Tokyo. The accident occurred as she tried to get on the bus to the airport and cross the intersection. Were you coming to see Kyosuke? I think back on all the incomprehensible events of this past winter. The ransom stolen from Tsubaki's family. The attempt on Azai Gonzo's life via car bombing. Thinking about it now, there was something I didn't like about Tsubaki. And it was Gonzo that kept me from seeing my mother. I had plenty enough motives. And zero alibis, actually. All the action occurred while I wasn't feeling well. My memory of those events is too hazy to interpret. Oh yes, and let's not forget Dr. Akimoto's enthusiastic romantic diagnosis. Z's. The suspicious looks from Usami and Gonzo. I thought it was impossible before, but now I want to believe it. No, I'm ready to believe it. Are you Usami Yoshinori's daughter? She stopped breathing. I see. I almost wanted to laugh. That's why you've been following me around all this time. Did you want to apologize in your father's stead? Or did you come to avenge his murder? Usami's sobs drizzled out into the room, and their echoes diffused through the darkness. It was unpleasant. Why are you crying?
すみません。
Disgusting to the bitter end.
すみません。すみません。
Shut up. But Usami didn't even try to wipe her tears.
お母さんが亡くなられたと聞いて、いても立ってもいられなくなって。
There's no way we could ever be together! Do you even know what your father did to mine? Huh? Say it!
でもそれは私たちには関係ないはず。
Yeah, sure. Logically, you're right. If I were a fucking machine, then we could do whatever you want. But how do you expect me to fucking look you in the eye and accept you while I think about the humiliation my father went through?
私はそれでもあなたが。
Usami looked like she was about to fall to her knees, crying. Nevertheless, she diligently held her reddened eyes fixed on me. She seemed to be devoting her all to this confrontation.
好きです。ダメだ、忘れようって思ってもずっと好きでした。
Usami said she met me 10 years ago. Was that memory? Was it on the rooftop of the Sano Corporation's headquarters? Did I really meet Usami as a kid? I need to find out. Revenge can wait for now. I head for the Sano Corporation building.
And so it continues.
Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of The Devil on G-String. So, I still got a lot of the information that was dumped on us in the last episode at the forefront of my mind. And I guess we're now going to be climbing up this big old building here to figure out just what that one particular flashback that we had actually means in regards to our relationship with Usami. Because turns out she was a childhood friend of ours. But I guess Kyosuke here wants to go and confirm that for himself. Or Maou, or I don't really know who's really in charge of the meat suit that I'm controlling right now. Anyway, I guess we'll find out just what the deal is with this rooftop soon enough. The night wears on, and now it's time to act. I finish my preparations and leave Sano's headquarters. As Kyosuke. No. Samejima Kyosuke and Usami Haru met as children. They socialized in their own clumsy way and formed a relationship completely ignorant of what was transpiring between their parents. What a hilarious story. An old friend holding an unrequited love for an outrageous amount of time. And then, a 10-year reunion. Your love could never have been answered, Usami. For you to seek normal happiness like that is impertinent. Now, Father doesn't have much time left. There's one man I must kill before executing my final plan. I take my cell phone in hand to call him. I throw my personal feelings to the wind as I listen to the ringing of the line. Be thankful I let you live for so long. The call connects, and I speak up. It's been a while. Do you think that kind of greeting is suitable for this situation? Usami Haru, alone, rushed to Azai Gonzo's mansion. After being rejected by the man she loved, she held no more hope. She decided to take the opportunity to drown herself in her chase for Maou, her mother's killer. Azai Gonzo stared at his sudden visitor.
死人の匂いが強くなったな、宇佐美春。
Why is the text just instantly appearing instead of just gradually revealing itself like it normally does? Haru was prepared to be killed by Gonzo for allowing Yuki, a comrade of Maou, to escape.
ユキから聞き出した魔王の情報は全てお話しします。ですからユキに手を出さないでいただけませんか。
She knew there was no way to live in this city with Azai Gonzo as an enemy. Take one step outside the safe zone Yuki and Miza had holed themselves up in, and Gonzo's men would be waiting. As if they knew their prey would give in eventually, the Yakuza continued their surveillance of the Tokita household.
ユキが許されるのであれば、私はどうされても構いません。
She spoke without reverence, and challengingly into Gonzo's eyes. Flattery wouldn't work on this beast of a man anyway. Defending herself even in the slightest would prevent him from taking her seriously. She was prepared to bare her vitals, her stomach, her jugular, any number of vulnerable spots to show she wasn't afraid of the beast.
時田の娘についてはひとまず置く。魔王の情報などもはや必要ない。
Gonzo's interests seemed to be somewhere else.
と言いますと。
お前も知っての通り、京介こそが魔王だ。
Haru doubted her ears.
京介は精神科医にかかっている。話を聞いたところ、奴はどうやら心因性健忘症という病にかかっているようだ。
それはどういう。
脳の組織に異常が生じ、突然過去の記憶がなくなったり、部分的に空白になる非常に珍しい疾患だ。
そんな、それは何が原因で。
ストレスの積み重ねだ。そしてストレスがあっても外に出せず、感情を押し殺すようなタイプに起こりうるという。
A lump rose in Haru's throat. She could tell Kyosuke had a brutal past. She could also tell that he didn't have a single friend who understood the man behind the cheerful mask he wore at school.
浅井様、京介君は魔王じゃありません。
She muttered, as if speaking to herself. Haru may outwardly say she suspects Kyosuke, but inside, she trusts him to an almost idiotic extent. However, she didn't have any proof to present to Gonzo. She had no way of convincing him that Kyosuke was not the one who had taken the Miwa family's ransom and blown up his car.
お前は過去において京介と接点があった。
よくご存知で。
The beast's eyes shot open.
ついていたか。
はい。
京介は。
あの時は。
そうか。
Haru suddenly felt that the intimidation oozing from Gonzo's every pore had stopped flowing altogether.
そうか。
Gonzo repeated. Haru, helpless, could do nothing but wait for Gonzo's inevitable judgment of Kyosuke.
いけれども、いけれども、道は氷河なり。人のせいに四季はなく、ただ冬の荒野があるのみ。流れ出た血と涙は拭わずともいずれ凍りつく。
Haru couldn't tell if he was speaking about Kyosuke or himself. A voice called from the next room. Gonzo answered, and a man in a black suit appeared carrying a cordless phone. He left again without saying a word. Gonzo took the phone, then kept silent for a bit. Haru had no idea who the caller was or what the call was about. I suspect it's Devilman.
Kyosuke yo.
Gonzo finally spoke up in a threatening voice.
のこのこと現れれば死ぬぞ。
That seemed to be the end of the conversation. After that, Gonzo stood up. He seemed to almost forget about Haru's existence. Gonzo hid a gun in his pocket, then walked outside of a haughty gate. The beast was going hunting. There was nothing Haru could do to stop him. Oh boy, we got a sight. It looks like the fish bit at my bait. Two Mercedes-Benzes rushed along the dark harbor. Muscle jumped out of the cars when they stopped. Gonzo had 6 guards with him. He must be underestimating me. Most likely they're not carrying anything bigger than pea shooters. Furthermore, I wonder how many of these 6 have actually killed someone. They may be Yakuza, but there aren't many Yakuza who spend days out in secluded mountains practicing with loaded firearms and live ammunition. The only problem is, our man Azai Gonzo is refusing to come out of his vehicle. One of heavy tinting, I might add. Thus, I can't paint Gonzo's vitals with my scope's crosshair. Still, there ought to be plenty of chances. These men, who are used to living in a peaceful country like Japan, would never dream that they're being targeted by a rifle on a rundown building 200 yards away. My sniping isn't something to brag about, but I have an excellent scope helping me. An expert engineer adjusted the focus for me, so even if my aim is a little shaky, I shouldn't miss my target. I grip the rifle and the smell of oil from the gun reaches my nose. I monitor the situation through my scope. I was right to have chosen the wharf as my hunting grounds. It's a wide expanse with practically no cover. Whoops. A large man reminiscent of a bodyguard turns to talk to the back seat of one of the cars. Boss, we can't find him. His throaty voice echoes through the silent night. Azai Gonzo is definitely here. He's being careful, having his subordinates search the area. Now, how to smoke him out of the car? I stick a rod covered with a soft cloth into the barrel of the gun. I finish up the cleaning, then put 5 rounds of ammunition into the chamber. The bullets are tipped with ceramic, designed to pierce through the most bulletproof vests. I take out the hand towel I had stashed in the instrument case I transported the rifle in. I intend to use it to quickly gather up the shells after the fact. I wrap the weapon's sling around my left arm, then fix my elbow firmly to the ground. Making sure to support the gun with my bones and not strength, I put my cheek and right hand up on the stock. My preparations are about finished. The ocean is quiet, and there isn't much wind. I took into consideration the humidity and air currents between buildings also, but I couldn't find anything that might upset any shots I fire. All that's left to do is find Gonzo and aim at him. I took aim at the Mercedes-Benz Gonzo would be coming out of. I then heard the sound of a car engine and checked the situation through the lens again. A taxi had pulled up. It stopped by the side of Gonzo's vehicle for a moment, then quickly drove away. I snicker when I see who had stepped out. I adjusted my sights to take into account the crosswind. Taking into mind the effect of gravity, I moved the crosshair slightly upwards. Now come out, Gonzo. I'll take you down in one blow. But for some reason, I can't keep my cool. It's not excitement for the conclusion of my hunt. And it's certainly not pity for the beast who ruined my mother. Then, as if sensing a disturbance in my heart, Azai Gonzo jumped out of the car at the exact right moment. With the agile movements of a wild animal, he ran with his body low to the ground.
Kyosuke!
He roared. Of all places, he was looking straight at me. Brave bastard. As if he knew he was being targeted by a rifle. Why? It's conceivable that he'd be cautious of a sniper. That's why he didn't come out of the car. But why? Before I could think, a will to put down the beast took over me. Azai Gonzo's huge body was dead center in my sights. He arrogantly looked up at me. Now, do it! The beast came to be killed. I aimed the crosshairs at his chest. I steadied my breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. I keep my eyes pried open. My eyelids are frozen in place. I take aim. I put my finger to the trigger and squeeze ever so slightly. The rifle fires. The sound of the gunshot echoes throughout the docks, and Gonzo's huge body shakes. The bullet went in just below the lung. I missed his heart, but it's a fatal wound. I put a bit of gunpowder in the bullets. So right now, the beast's insides must be really wrecked. Yeah. What?
Maou! Kike!
How is he still standing?
悪とは未だ人のうちに残っている動物的な性質にこそ起源がある。
His knees didn't even falter, and his face is filled with violent excitement. His bloodshot eyes seemed capable of leaping from their sockets at any second.
復讐に救いを求め、救いに悪をなさんとする貴様は、遠からず己が悪行の脆さを知るだろう。
It was like the standing death of Benkei. My body shrank back at the final roar of a beast on the verge of death.
笑おう！盛大に！
The very next moment, Azai Gonzo's mouth vomited a veritable bloodstorm. He was smiling. Azai Gonzo spends his final moments bellowing in laughter, spewing from his lungs a sea of blood. And despite seeming to drown in it, he continues laughing. The rifle shakes, pounding against my ear. No, it's my arm shaking. For some reason, I was trapped in a nightmare that the beast 200 yards away was devouring my intestines. Calm down. I killed him. Azai Gonzo is dead. There's no doubt about that. Right. There's nothing to panic about. His last screams were nothing but the hollowing of a dying dog. Laughter? Humbug. That was nothing more than the convulsions of a hyena who failed to kill his prey. No matter how cool I try to play, my violently beating heart betrays my desire to flee. Did you just demonstrate the difference between us as animals? When I looked into the scope again, I was overcome with fear. There's no one there. The wolves, now found an alpha male, had dispersed without a hint of disturbance. They merely rushed to the nearest cover and redirected their attention. The only thing in view was Gonzo's body, lying on the ground. This is bad. I missed my chance to take out the rest of my targets. I underestimated them. I thought Japan's Yakuza were a bunch of dunces, more bark than bite. Without uttering a word about their boss's death, they came straight for me. An army that keeps moving even after losing its commander, eh? If they're truly this competent, then it's highly probable that one of them noted the flash from my rifle. In other words, I should assume they know where I am. I quickly pack away the rifle and prepare to withdraw. I dash down the emergency staircase of the rundown building. I'm careful to move as quietly as I can without sacrificing speed. I leave the building in the harbor, then hide in the shadows of a warehouse. I managed to escape by a hair's breadth. The men infiltrated the decrepit building I had just been in groups of two, covering each other's blind spots. Their cooperation was reminiscent of the Special Forces buddy system. In all the battlefields I've been in, I've never felt so alive. It was a narrow victory. No, in all honesty, I have no idea how I was able to take down Gonzo. Why did he leave the safety of the car and put himself in danger? I can't figure it out. Nevertheless, it seems the devil has smiled upon me today. I tasted my revenge against the beast that drove my mother to the grave. I should be content with this. Farewell, Azai Gonzo. Now, Usami, you're next. When I went to return the rifle in its instrument case, I noticed something upsetting. There were footsteps attempting to match mine from a street corner behind me. I'm being followed. Is it the Sonoyama group? They're sure fast to react. To verify that I'm being followed, I keep turning corners until I return to my starting point. Was it my imagination? There was no sign of a tailor. In any case, Sonoyama men wouldn't bother to tail me. They just strike the moment they spotted me. Could be Usami. But they might be keeping an eye on me as they gather reinforcements for a sure victory. I should leave this place. I head straight for the Eastern District. The night isn't over yet. In fact, it's barely past 12 o'clock. I had just left elementary school. I was on my way to meet my dad, Samejima Toshikatsu, at his workplace. Naturally, there was no way he had time to play around with me during work. Thus, I figured I'd sneak into the incredibly high rooftop to satisfy a bit of my childish curiosity. The tower was a skyscraper, a full 50 floors from the street. The view from the roof was perfect. The wide golden sky seemed to envelop me as it wrapped around the earth. It was gently spotted with shadowy clouds. As I was staring at the scenery, the sun set behind the snow-tipped mountains. Even as a child, I was moved by the beautiful sky before my eyes. Wait a minute. If I was going to go investigate that skyscraper to get confirmations of a certain memory, then how could I have been dealing with Gonzo? Did I just already take care of it off screen? I'm getting a bad feeling here. Not liking it. Until I noticed her on the other side of the fence. What are you doing? She was sitting at the edge of the roof, her legs dangling over the distant sidewalk. Hey, aren't you scared? She didn't answer. Those eyes. Is that Haru? She was reading a thick book. Naturally, the wind was strong up here, and the pages blew around incessantly. Are you reading a book?
見ればわかるでしょ。
I thought she was strange, but that just made me even more interested in her. Why are you reading in a dangerous place like that?
落ち着くから。
She spoke sullenly. You aren't scared?
何も。
If you fall, you're gonna die.
肉や骨が飛び散るでしょうね。でも大丈夫。ゴミ袋を用意してるから。落ちるときはそれにくるまるよう努力するつもり。清掃の人もそれで少しは楽ができる。
What do I even say to this? Jesus Christ. She turns the pages of her book while talking. You're pretty weird.
私はあなたたちとは違うの。あなたたちみたいに世間とつながっていないと孤独に発狂してしまうような連中とは違うの。
Ah, you're a strong, independent child. She talked about difficult abstract concepts so fluently. Are you a girl? Her short hair made her look like a boy.
悪い？
Mm-mm. Nope.
なんで？
Huh?
どうして悪くないと思ったの？女の子なら普通髪は長いでしょ。常識を逸脱してるじゃない。
I didn't really get what she was talking about, but I replied anyway. I like girls with long hair. Now, if you could express that, yeah, that's just ironic. Because, well, she grows her hair out 10-something years later, and all you see is squid hair. Master of the mixed message, aren't we?
ってそんなこと聞いてないわよ。
Well, it's not like it matters, right? There's nothing wrong with having short hair. I laugh, and she sulks.
あなたこそ何してるの？
I'm waiting on my dad.
お父さんはここで働いてるんだ。
Huh? How did you know?
あなたみたいな子供が一人でこの商社のビルに入ってこれるわけないでしょ。
You're a kid, too.
そうね。
Oh, wait. Does that mean your dad works here too?
だったら何？
Let's play. I'm bored.
私は暇じゃない。本を読んでる。
What are you reading? Let me see. I think I remember seeing Crime and Punishment written on the cover. That's pretty advanced reading for a little tyke like you, don't you think?
人は人を殺してもいいのか？悪とは何か？興味ある？
Nah.
じゃあ向こう行ってて。
What's your name?
は？
Your name. There was a strange pause.
勇者。
What?
勇者。
What? Hero?
田中。
Tanaka Hero? What kind of name is that?
勇者じゃダメなの？
Well, nothing, but if you're a hero, you're strong, right?
もちろん。
Can you use magic?
グーテンタグ。
Whoa, awesome.
グーテンモルゲン。
Whoa.
ランランルー。
What kind of magic is that?
私もわからない。
Ah, the incomprehensible magic. My favorite. You're weird.
さあ、帰ろうかな。
I remembered my first encounter with the young hero on the sauna rooftop clearly. I really must have some sort of mental illness to lock away such an important memory. Now, Usami's next. Before the high from spilling Gonzo's blood had subsided, I made my way to the Eastern District. I decided upon a grave for Usami Yoshinori's daughter long ago. Usami should have heard about me from Tokita Yuki. I've told Tokita quite a bit about my activities. I told her about the underground channel and my connections to foreign nations. I even let her stay at one of my lairs once. All the information I gave her knowing she may betray me. Thus, I'm not concerned about Tokita's information hindering my plans. But it could make Usami's gambits less predictable. In any case, ensuring that you're guiding your opponent's moves is Battle Strategy 101. The very fundamentals of combat. I'd say this calls for another game of tag. I wonder if that cell phone I gave Usami has any minutes left on it. I try calling her. She quickly picks up. Yo, Usami. How are you? Usami moans.
ゴンゾーさんを殺したな。
The media must be having a blast with it by now. The whole city will erupt in pandemonium. The death of the Sonoyama Group boss, the most powerful member of the Sawo Alliance, is a hefty trigger. The scales of power in the underground will be completely upset. The Izai Corporation front will fall also. How's Tokita Yuki doing? Will she be handing herself over to the police? Trespassing, attempted murder. She has quite the laundry list of crimes by now. If Tokita Yuki is arrested, it would reverberate to a special investigations unit of the police. Her father, Tokita Akihiro, is said to be a brilliant man. If I can, I'd rather like to avoid doing battle with him. Usami simply ignored my provocations, though.
何の用だ？
I want to meet you. Usami's breath halts. You know the park in the Eastern District? Near Tsubaki's old house? There's a levee nearby that leads to a drainage channel.
そこへ来いと。
We can't just walk in nonchalantly. They don't allow visitors in the outer underground discharge channel at this time, you see.
裏口でもあるのか。
Plenty. The structure takes in water from all the surrounding prefectures. Didn't your father ever tell you about it? Usami didn't answer. There's a tunnel entrance a little over 200 yards west of the drainage channel. The fence is usually locked, but I'll open it as a service to you.
それはありがとう。
And don't worry about the water. The channel is empty at the moment. Inside the tunnel is warmer than outside.
いいだろう。
What's she acting so cool about? This'll be the final battle. Your final battle, that is. I'll choke you to death, just as my father did to yours. She called herself Hero. She hadn't done so for any reason in particular. She just saw the word hero on the page in front of her. Then she felt like saying it. She didn't have any interest in the boy. She put her hand in her shorts pocket. Inside was a small pocket watch. It was a favorite of hers. After all, it had cute little penguins on it.
もう時間。帰る。
Clutching her pocket watch, she stood up. Hey, wait. A strong wind pushed its way toward her. Oh, here we go. We got a little setup for a rescue romance here. With tremendous force, it crawled up the building. It slung across her ankle and yanked her foot away from its solid grip. As she lost her balance, she finally, and for the first time, looked at the boy's face. Watch out! The boy reached out his hand. His desperate face neared her. He moaned. He struggled. He writhed. The light from the evening sky twinkled on her pocket watch. I'm going to fall, she thought. She was on the verge of death, yet she was calm. She merely had to pull out the trash bag and get it in before hitting the ground. The boy's breath tickled her ear, as if to spite the din of the rushing wind. Her vision was filled with an expanse of glowing orange sky. At some point, she had come to rest in his arms. He held her, as if to protect her. She could feel his warmth. She was more embarrassed than scared. I said it was dangerous, didn't I, you stupid idiot? She felt his breath on her again. She finally understood that she'd been saved.
懐中時計。
She muttered and searched her pockets. Of course, it wasn't there. It fell.
困る。
You should be happy you didn't fall.
やだ。
The boy seemed to be angry. He let go of the girl and pouted. The girl went to the edge of the roof again.
あれ、お母さんからもらったの。
Well, shit, that sucks then. She looked down, as if trying to find it. Of course, it would have been impossible for her to spot a pocket watch from 50 stories up. Was it important to you?
うん。でも諦める。
Are you sure? The girl turned to face the boy.
しょうがない。バラバラに砕けてしまっただろうし。
She hung her head as she spoke. Don't say such sad things. She didn't mean to say sad things. She just hung her head. Had the evening sun betrayed the feelings within her? All right, I'll find it for you. Wait right here. The boy turned around. She didn't understand. She had never asked him to find it for her. I said I gave up. But the girl couldn't spit out the words she had gathered up to stop the boy. Darkness fell. She stood there in a daze. It was probably about time for her violin practice. She waited. It got darker, and artificial lights took up the place of the burning red sky on the rooftop. Not a single star was in sight. The wind that had nearly robbed her of her life had brought thick clouds along with it. It was cold. She waited. The roof door was thrown open. Someone shouted happily. A shadow dashed toward her. Another voice shouted, even happier than the first. The girl vaguely realized that the second voice had been hers. The pocket watch was fine. There were a few small chips in it, but the smallest needle kept ticking away, second by second. It was a miracle. Almost like magic, the boy said. Probably a result of that incomprehensible spell she casted earlier. The hero's magic. A warm fire burned in her childish mind. To her, the boy was the hero. Oh, the irony. She stared at the boy. He looked back at her with a gentle expression. She wanted to give him her thanks right away, but her rebellious heart wouldn't allow it. She couldn't help but feel embarrassed as he stared at her. Snow. The boy opened his arms wide and looked up at the black sky. He had looked away from her. This was her chance. She could say it now. Her heart had been aching, holding it in. Aren't you cold? Want to wear my coat? His eyes met hers again. His thoughtfulness warmed her heart, but her shyness returned with a vengeance.
私、友達いなくて、お父さんもいつも仕事で忙しくて。
Her lips suddenly started moving. She couldn't stop them.
引っ越しばっかりで、そう、それで友達いなくて。それで、だから、みんな私のことを変なやつだって言って、だから友達いなくて、
She realized she was growing flustered. She was usually more calm and able to speak logically.
本当驚くぐらい友達いなくて。
She was always ignored by the other kids her age. Thus, she decided to ignore them too. She had once read the phrase lone wolf in a book. She decided that being a lone wolf was her goal.
ごめんなさい。
She apologized, choking back her tears. The emotional little girl in her finally surfaced. Hold it in, hold it in, the girl said to herself. She'll just be dragged halfway across the world again. She won't be able to save the boy. Stay a lone wolf. Stay a lone wolf.
さよなら、もう帰る。
She ran away. Her conscience ate at her. As she ran off, the boy shouted his name. I'm Kyosuke. We'll see each other again, right, hero? The girl didn't answer. Her legs just stopped moving. In a way, though, that was her answer. Kyosuke-kun. She said his name over and over in her mind. The snow covering Tomobetsu City had piled high. In stark contrast, the snow covering the girl's heart was primed, prepared to be thawed. She arrived at the meeting place Maou had mentioned, and found a tunnel just under a gently sloped levee. She opened the broken gate, passed through a dim tunnel, and finally reached the underground channel. It was a monstrous, wide cavern. Supposedly, the room could hold floodwater from the entire metropolitan area in the case of a disaster. Haru thought of her father, Usami Yoshinori. She smelled cigarettes and heard the sound of mahjong tiles. Most of the memories she had of her father had at least one of those elements. She never had a chance to see another side of him. Her mother Karu had dragged her across the world with her. So when she heard that he had been killed by a man named Samejima Toshikatsu, it didn't hit her too hard. His co-workers shed more tears at the funeral than she did. She merely thought her father was a well-loved man. It wasn't until much later that she realized her father had somewhat deserved his end. Rumor had it he passed his illegal gambling debts onto Samejima Toshikatsu in some nefarious scheme. Haru's mother swept her off to Germany in the meantime. The two fled the public's prying eyes. I can't blame Kyosuke-kun for resenting me. Those were happy memories. She had met Kyosuke on the Sano Corporation rooftop for many an idle conversation, but not once did they ever worry about their feuding families. Kyosuke was cheerful, eloquent, and courageous as a boy. The polar opposite of Haru, who was unable to fit into Japanese schools due to her German upbringing. Usami Haru's only friend was her hero, Samejima Kyosuke. This is just making a lot of events that happened in the game, in retrospect, a lot sadder for me, in hindsight. Where is Maou? As if to brush away her warm memories, she focused on searching for her mother's murderer's footprints. Reading a book again? I found the girl's pocket watch just yesterday. I went out on the Sano Corporation's rooftop today as well. I was hoping I might see that hero girl again.
また来たんだ。
Yeah, I came to see you.
そうなんだ。で、何か用なの？
God, that face is so cute. Let's play.
なんで私？
Don't know.
家族と遊んでれば。
Dad is working, Mom is at the hospital, and my brother is in another country.
外国？
Yeah, England. He's really smart.
年は結構離れてるのね。
About 10 years. A 10-year difference? Jesus. I thought going by that letter that Daddy wrote you guys were born around roughly the same time. About 10 years. Well, you're about the same age as me, right?
だったら何よ。友達になってくれるっていうの？
Of course.
でも、私来週にはニューヨークに行くんだ。
Why?
お母さんのお仕事についていくの。私も前座みたいなことするの。
Opening act? What's that?
大勢の前でバイオリン弾くの。
I really like Air on the G string.
そうなんだ。
I heard it because my dad listens to it a lot. He's always listening to it these days.
だったら今度弾いてあげなくもないけど。
Oh yeah, and I like Erlkönig too. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
え、もし
I heard about that one in school. It's kind of dark but cool. Its title means devil.
魔王って。
Hey, you'll come back, right? From New York?
まあいつになるかわからないけど、一応日本に家があるから。
What do you mean for now?
別に。
Are you lonely?
なんで？
Your dad is always busy, right? Mine is too. And I had a baby sister a while ago, but she died.
そう。
Her name was Kiyomi, and she was really cute. But we're still happy. Sometimes my brother comes home too. I took a picture of him just a little while ago. I can use a camera.
カメラくらい私も使えるよ。
Is there any chance that I could see this picture? I'm kind of curious to know what this guy looks like. Next time I'll take a picture of you.
いいよ。なんで？
As a keepsake.
やだよ。私女の子っぽくないし。
Don't worry about it. Come to my house sometime.
だからニューヨーク行くってば。
I didn't say next week. I said sometime. Anytime. We can all have dinner together. I'll tell you the address.
考えておくけど、あまり期待しないでね。
The entrance to a dark tunnel looms before me. This is it. The outer underground discharge channel. Several footprints had trailed mud through the passage. Wait for me, Usami. I listen in and hear footsteps echoing from afar. It's Usami. She really came alone. This should be fun. I'd have expected her to call the cops. She must be drunk on heroism. She must want to catch me with her own hands. That, or she must have decided I'd run away with my tail between my legs if she led police into my trap. Either way, she's come to die. What a foolish hero. She stubbornly chased me all this way, despite her powerlessness. She'd have done better to live the quiet life of a violinist. It's time to end this. Over here, Usami! I shout an invitation to her deathbed. As I anxiously awaited my reunion with Hiro, my life took a turn for the worse. The police called the house one night. They informed us that my father, Samejima Toshikatsu, had been arrested for murder. I'll never forget my mother's strength and kindness that bitter night. "What's wrong?" I asked her. "Nothing," she replied, smiling. The next day, I was scared to go to school. I had been a leader in my class until then, but after the incident I had no place there. "Are you alright, Kyosuke-kun? You look like you might collapse. If there's something on your mind, you can always tell me, okay?" My teacher reassured me during homeroom. When she did so, my classmates' apprehensive stares twitched. "Everyone, Be nice to Kyosuke-kun. He and his dad are two different people. He didn't do anything wrong. We should try to support him. That triggered the bullying. The kids started throwing around the term death penalty as a joke. And come recess, I often found a jump rope knotted menacingly on my desk. I came home to my mother slumped in a chair when she would typically be cheerfully cooking. With a broken face, one that had clearly given up, she welcomed me thusly. Did anyone say anything to you at school? I panicked and quickly put both hands to my neck to hide the bruising. The doorbell rang incessantly. I opened the door to a swarm of buzzing reporters and cameras. The bright flashes blinded me. Hey, don't take photos of the kid. I'll crop him out later. Hey kid, do you mind? Go to your mom, son. I was overwhelmed by the wall of people. I tried to close the door, but they shot their hands out at me like a pack of zombies. They jammed their feet in the threshold, refusing to allow me to escape. This is breaking and entering! After one of them stubbornly shoved a camera through the gap, I lost consciousness. From that day forth, my life was hell. Day after day, hordes, packs, swarms of media stormed my once peaceful home. Neighbors shot their mouths off about my family. And every time we nearly lost ourselves in this earthly chaos, a loan shark from the underworld named Azai Gonzo returned to collect his due. My saving grace was what remained of my family, my mother and brother. Samejima Kyohei had rushed back to Japan when he heard the news. He didn't stay for long, though. He merely reprimanded me a few times, supported Mom for a little while, offered a stick of incense to our late sister's portrait, and planned one more brief trip to Britain to drop out of school. However, hell had other plans for my mother and me. Kyohei was caught in a subway bombing in London and lost his life. Okay, so that's what happened to him then, I guess. Mystery solved on the brother. Kyohei's funeral was a sad event on many levels. Apparently the bomb's blast was so powerful that not even a scrap of his body was found. With Dad unavailable, Mother acted as chief mourner. I think she was at her limits. The deep despair had painted an impossible parlor on her face. The relatives in town for mourning had taken care of the funeral arrangements, apparently hoping to help Mom out. But behind the caring facade, they were all conspiring to strip my father's assets from him. Despite being tormented by debt, he had always adamantly refused to sell the house. He saw the house as the last stronghold of his family. And besides, why should we have to sell off the house which held our memories of Kyohei Nissan and Kiyomi to pay off a debt we shouldn't rightfully have? Of course, that logic wouldn't work on our relatives. One of my uncles had lent father money to pay off his debts. With land that was worth over 275,000 yen per square foot, just right for the taking, it was only natural for him to take initiative and put his all into this little event. My brother Kyohei's funeral was neither a celebration of life nor a moment of sorrow, but a farce centered around the sparkling of gold.
Kyosuke-kun mo oukiku natta be na.
This particular uncle was a self-sustaining fisherman from Hokkaido. My father was the only successful person in his family. He was raised poor, but studied like a madman to get into a top university and land his job with Sano Corporation. His brothers must have been jealous and likely asked him for money often. That on top of the 100,000 yen Dad sent home to his family every month. You'd think my uncles would be a little more loyal after all that money.
清美ちゃんは残念だったべな。年活も50を間近に子供なんか作るから。
Even as a child, I could feel the evil intent hiding behind their kind faces. I could hear their whispers from the other side of the shut and sliding doors. Toshikatsu's such a damn buffoon. You know, he was never one to talk things over with us. His wife's got tough too. She's a Toyama family girl, but I hear her folks won't let her come home unless she divorces Toshikatsu. Don't look to me like that's gonna happen. I told him time and time again, these inlander women are scary. Sure, she's got it tough and all, but she's rolling Toshikatsu's dough. She may be a cute little thing, but she's too old to have any more kids. I'll take care of it. Just leave it to me. You mean the money? I'm sure the good Lord wouldn't mind if we took a little something from a guy who decided he'd rather cause trouble than support his family. I wonder why I'm in a place like this, as I listen to the priest chanting sutras. Just a few days ago, I had plenty of friends. My family was happy, and the sky from the Sano Corporation rooftop spread far around me. Now my father's in a cell. My mother seems about to faint. My brother was so thoroughly eliminated from this world that there's nothing left of him to mourn. And to add insult to injury, the media and my family circle like vultures, willing to watch us suffer for a buck. Why do I have to go through this hell? Why must I struggle on this spider's web? Why do I have to be afraid of people's stares and whispers? There was someone looking down on me as I held my knees in the corner of the room.
京介君、おっかさんにお願いしてもらえんべか?
His fake smile was so unlike my father's, I found it hard to believe they were brothers.
おっかさんに実家に帰ってもらえんかの?
He was telling us to hand over the house in a roundabout way.
京介君も辛いべよ。よその学校の方がいいべよ。
I'm staying with Mom. Annoyed that he couldn't pick a better time, I stood up against him.
年勝さんの夫さんはえらいことをしたんだわ。そういうことをしたもんはよ、家族ひっくるめて家を出ていくもんなんだべよ。
That's common decency, huh? Just completely leaving your family's home with relatives whenever one person does something bad. Fuck you. Dad didn't do anything wrong. He muttered, then turned around to his other brothers. They don't usually engage in open confrontation. They just use sly means to get their way.
いいか、京介。夫さんは4人も殺したんよ。人殺しだべ。夫さんを信じるのはいいが、人殺しが悪くないと言ったらいかん。
But Mom loves Dad too.
そりゃ旦那が金さ持ってるからだべ。そんなことよう言えんから、こうして身内が気をもんでるんだわ。子供には分からんだろうがの。
His face grew more threatening.
一方的ですまんがよ。わしの言うことを聞きなさい。頼れる身内もおらんのだべよ。母さんに苦労させたくないべ。
My body shakes in anger as I realize I can't escape him. All right. I don't want to upset her. I nodded to that. But my uncles heaved a relieved sigh, thinking they'd won me over. I was just thinking of my mother. What could she say in her defense, with the whole family ganging up on her? Would anyone believe her if she alone pleaded her innocence? She did nothing wrong, I thought. This is unfair. I was angry at myself for being powerless and ignorant. If Dad were here, he'd beat them up. If Kyohei were here, he'd chase them off with eloquent words. Anyone. I wish for anyone to come save us. If just one person came to defend my mother's honor, even if it accomplished nothing, I would be satisfied. The sutras end, and I crouch to the floor. If I let myself be seen crying, I've lost. I grit my teeth, desperately trying to bear the pressure. The door at the back slides open.
お邪魔します。
Hello. When did she come in? When did she come back from New York? With an unbelievable amount of gumption for that tiny body, the young hero had jumped in.
兄ちゃんにお線香あげに来ました。
Everyone was in a clamor at the sudden intruder.
どこの子だ。場所をわきまえなさい。
My eyes met with hers. She must have guessed what was happening, seeing me with tears of anguish in my eyes. Hiro stared my uncle down.
場所をわきまえるのはお前らの方だ。
It sounds like she overheard the conversation. Snoop! No way. Kiyomi-chan? Don't be stupid. Kiyomi died. But she said her brother. The adults seem to have just realized that this is a funeral. Some kid none of them knew suddenly showed up. They looked at the girl with white faces, as if they'd seen a ghost.
お前ら寄ってたかって白いものを黒だと抜かし、おっかさんや京介君をいじめるのか？
Her intelligence and courage stopped my tears.
わざわざ天国から出張ってきたんだ。ふざけたこと抜かしたらまとめて連れて帰るぞ。
そんなバカな。
My uncle's face, wrapped with greed not half a moment ago, was now clearly quailing. It was awesome. It is awesome. Hiro came and saved me from this hellish place. It was only then that Mom shed her first tears. Maybe she really believed Kiyomi had appeared. The tears on her cheeks bore hints of a hue other than sadness. Where is he? She searched for Maou in the monstrous cavern, among its countless towering pillars. The silence seemed to hurt Haru's ears. She realized he had walked into a trap of her own volition. There were plenty of hiding places for Maou. He could be aiming at her with a gun at this very moment.
素晴らしい場所だと思わないか？
Mao's voice suddenly rang out from the abyss. The extreme echoes in the artificial underground space masked the location of the speaker.
お前の父、宇佐美義則も地獄で誇らしげに自慢していることだろう。
Hearing her father's name didn't move Haru in the slightest. The ominous darkness around her seemed to engulf Haru, and with every passing second, she was more sure this was indeed the residence of the devil.
鬼ごっこの次はかくれんぼか？そろそろ姿を見せたらどうだ？
気が早いな。勇者と魔王の戦いの前には演出が必要だと思わないか？
お前とおしゃべりをするつもりはない。
面白くないな。
Footsteps echoed around her. He was close. Haru pricked up her ears and stared into the darkness, refusing to let a single sound go unheard. It paid off. She heard a noise and turned around. A piece of concrete had fallen to the ground. It was a distraction. Was he toying with her? The tension began to run her breath ragged. I watch Usami from behind a pillar. My only question is this. Is she armed? Most importantly, she's carrying a gun. She's traveled extensively in her life, so it's possible she has experience with live ammunition. However, where would she get a gun in Japan? And she'd have to be a fearful sharpshooter indeed to hit me in this darkness. But there's always the remote possibility. When she quickly turned at the stone I threw, I watched the twisting of Usami's clothes. I couldn't see any bulge at her waist that might be a sidearm. I'll laugh if it turns out she hid something in her bust or like, but I don't intend to give her the time to reach any elaborate hiding spots. Nevertheless, it seems she does have some sort of weapon. I keep a close eye on her right hand. She's holding it low and tense. In other words, it's poised to move quickly in the event of a surprise attack. Thus, she's carrying something near her right hand. Her skirt pocket, most likely. What kind of weapon is it, I wonder? You don't know for sure it even is a weapon. A small knife, maybe? No, I'd say it's more commonly a common women's defense tool. Pepper spray or a taser, perhaps. They even sell tasers in the shape of pens here in Japan. Now, allow me to demonstrate my reverence for you, hero. Usami didn't respond. You didn't bring any friends, let alone police, and chase me all this way alone.
よく言う。警察の影でも見えれば、尻尾を巻いて退散するつもりだったくせに。
Indeed, this is nothing more than a game after all. Thus, I won't intrude upon your honor by taking you down with a rifle from afar.
余裕だな。
You wouldn't use a shotgun to kill a rat, would you? Despite the fact that rats spread some rather troublesome diseases. I thought it'd be best to choke you to death. Just like Father. I feel like mimicking him might allow me to carry some of Father's karma. I burst into a dash. I leap from pillar to pillar, keeping my cover. I reach a second pillar, a third, and I keep moving. I can tell Osama's breathing is getting unsteady. As I should have expected, she didn't blindly swallow my words. I'm carrying a gun under my suit jacket. If I get careless, and she gets a drop on me, I'll just shoot her and be done with it. Now he's moving to the right. He moves between pillars with the swiftness of a panther. Haru panicked at Maou's playful movements. She never fought with her life on the line before. She certainly didn't expect to use the karate she practiced after quitting the violin to work on Maou. This was her best chance to defeat Maou. As long as Maou's pride continued to play with a powerless girl like her, she would eventually be given an opportunity to strike. The chance will only show itself for a moment. She checks for her hidden taser again. Just pressing a 10-centimeter long weapon into an attacker's body will send electrodes flying into their skin. The manual claimed it supplies 500,000 volts, enough to rob the consciousness from any human, no matter the size. Haru tries to close in on her target. She moves to the pillar she last saw Maou at, and glues her back to it. Sweat slowly trickled from the fingertips of her tense right arm. We continued our dance for a while, switching places now and then. This great, round, open space. The pillars standing at equally spaced points. Usami must be losing her bearings running through this repetitive scenery. As proof of that, I have Usami's back. Of course, Usami will be watching her six carefully. We're around 5 meters apart. All I need to do is jump out and strangle her slender throat. But is it possible? Usami is most likely hiding a weapon. But if she has a weapon, why doesn't she keep it in her hand? Be it a knife or a taser, it would behoove her to hold it at the ready for a quick counterattack. Is she unarmed? Or is that what she wants me to think? We're getting nowhere here, Usami. Not a fraction of a second after I opened my mouth, I heard a sound I hadn't heard until then. That metal sound must have been the weapon in Usami's uniform. Did she knock it against a pillar or something? I run through the darkness again, taking distance from Usami. What are you waiting for? I'm right here! I'll wait patiently until my prey weakens. A schoolgirl who hasn't been through basic training will inevitably run out of stamina. Your breathing's getting heavy. Is something the matter? I weave from pillar to pillar with blinding speed, leading her on with a glimpse at my back each time. Usami chases me. Is your hatred for me this weak? How long did we play this hide and seek? I look back and scrutinize Usami's face as it's lit by the emergency lights. Her eyes are unfocused, and her lips are flaccid. There was indeed a black weapon in her right hand. Most likely some sort of taser, as I predicted. Usami trips, and I don't fail to recognize my chance. She must have gotten caught on a pillar. Usami falls to the ground face first. The black object falls out of her hand. Oh, crap. I turn aside deathly and fiercely draw in on the fallen Usami. Usami hurries to jump up, and I push her down. Now die! I put my hands onto her already deathly pale neck. What's wrong, hero? Use your head! As I say that, I put all my strength into keeping the blood away from her brain. Taste it well. Your father died this way too! Usami slowly stops resisting. I'm taking her life. The sensation is so incredibly intoxicating. My father, Samejima Toshikatsu, wished for Haru's death. As long as she lives, the demon named Usami Yoshinori will never be taught his lesson. I have no mercy. I don't feel any pangs of conscience. Usami will die at my hands. The life quickly fades from her eyes. In contrast, my face must be warped with delight. If only you could see me now, father. I'm finally going to... There's something coming from my chest. Oh, she had it hidden somewhere else, didn't she? I look at it reflexively. The shock and regret fly through my mind. I was being conceited. Who said that she only had one weapon? My teeth crack in humiliation. Maou's screams pour down like rain. Haru squeezes out all her remaining strength. She had pulled out the hidden weapon from her skirt pocket. The taser she was clenching took to Maou's chest.
地獄で母さんに詫びろ!
Usami gathered all her love for her mother and resentment toward quitting the violin. She forced these emotions into her arm and threw it forward. There's a flash like lightning. Or at least there was supposed to be. She couldn't believe her eyes. Electrodes should have fired into Maou, then discharged with a vengeance. Is it broken? No. Something in Maou's chest blocked it. Something hard. Fucking hell. A lot of civilian tasers come with a warning that they won't work on especially firm surfaces. A gun? By the time she tried to press into another part of his body, it was too late.
なるほどな。
Maou smiled.
所詮は市販のおもちゃだったか。
She feels all the power drained from her. Her last weapon was smacked from her hand and flew far out of reach.
なかなか頑張ったな、宇佐美。
His hands wrapped around her neck. Despair wells up in her.
次はどんな策を用意しているんだ。
This was it. She had nothing else.
そうか。もう遊びは終わりか。楽しかったぞ。
This is the end. I could definitely use a Deus Ex Machina right about now. There was never any point to it. Haru's resistance against Maou had been nothing more than a game to the bitter end. She's going to be killed. Killed like her father was. Her body attempting to shut down, and her consciousness slowly drowned. Her last memories were fuzzy. Her sight was gorged in red, and the boundary between life and death grew impossible to resolve. All she knew was that she was close to it now. She passed across an unbearable pain into a euphoric floating sensation. Her pupils dilated. Her eyes rolled back. Her bodily functions were about to cease entirely. Kyosuke-kun. Thank you so much for yesterday, hero. The day after she had barged into his brother's funeral, Kyosuke came to the rooftop.
ごめんね。勝手に妹さんのふりして。
Don't worry about it. You were so awesome. Haru knew her childish trick was only a quick fix. In the end, they'd still have to leave their home. I love you. Those carefree words took her by surprise. She couldn't tell him. She couldn't reveal that the man who tormented his father, that the man his father had killed, was her own father. She couldn't tell him. She couldn't let him know that she was leaving the country to flee society's prying eyes.
好き。
A cold sweat ran down her back. She tried to smile, but it didn't work out so well. The power of the word love had driven the moisture from her lips.
私が好きって。京介くんはほら、お友達多そうじゃない？
Yeah, I used to at least. Kyosuke's voice grew a shade darker. She said something really thoughtless. Her pulse skyrocketed.
恋人とかいるの？
She asked with feigned nonchalance. Nevertheless, the book she was holding was quivering in with her arms, and the anxiety nearly made her jump from the 50-story building she sat atop. You sure act like a grown-up hero. Dad always said girls were interested in that sort of thing, though.
いいから、いるのいないの？
Nope. I never even thought about it. He smiles, much to her relief. No, this wasn't a time to be relieved. She musters all her courage. The determination in her chest draws air into her parched mouth.
しょうがないわね。なら、私が結婚してあげるわよ。
She couldn't force a smile. Only tears decorated her face. In the heat of the moment, she had said such a thing. Nonchalantly, indifferently.
また会えたらね。覚えていたらでいいから。私これから引っ越すの。運命の再会っていうのかな。ロマンチックじゃない？
You're moving?
そう。
Why?
バイオリンの勉強するの。
Will you be leaving the country?
デュッセルドルフ。ヨーロッパね。
No way. His voice clouded over.
寂しい？
Of course I will. Her heart nearly leapt from her chest at that.
だからほら、また会えたら結婚してあげるって。こういう約束って大人に言わせれば恥ずかしいんだろうね。でもいいじゃない。勇者からのお願い。
After getting all that out at once, she realized the absurdity of her words. Her knees started to buckle. It was as if her entire body was protesting against her brazen confession. Marry me?
嫌なの。
Are you serious?
本気よ。
This time her voice clearly shook. Does he think I'm weird now? Does he think I'm bossy? Does he hate me? Is he going to laugh at me for being so childish? Oh, wait, Kyosuke-kun said he liked long-haired girls. However, as if to pick up the pieces of Haru's shattered heart, the boy responded kindly. All right, it's a promise.
覚えていなさいよ。私のお母さんすごい美人なんだからね。この意味わかるかな？つまり、私もこれからすごい美人になるってこと。
Yeah, and I'll grow out my hair. The girl stood up and turned to face the boy. She gave him a huge smile as she cried on the inside. And though her heart was fluttering, she knew it wasn't likely they'd meet again. Even if they did, the boy would be an adult. It would be a reunion between the son of a murderer and his victim's daughter. Kyosuke-kun would hold a grudge against her. But she didn't care.
約束ね。
She smiled again. The boy returned the smile in kind. This is depressing the hell out of me. Yeah. Good luck with the violin. He gazed at her so gently. He spoke so kindly. Everything about him made her sad to say goodbye, as she knew the passage of time would likely rob her of her fleeting dreams. She wanted to stay like this. However, she knew that she would be unable to force her smile much longer if she stayed with the boy. And she refuses to cry right now. There would be plenty of time for tears in the coming months.
じゃあね。とりあえずフェリーでどこかの空港まで行くらしいから。気が向いたら港まで見送りに来てよ。
Yeah, I'll be there. The evening sky dyed the boy's cheeks with a shade of orange. The girl forced her stiffened lips into one last false smile and waved goodbye. She took 1, 2 steps. She wanted to turn around and hug him. She broke into a run as she began to imagine the feeling of her first love's chest. Tears fogged her vision, and the wind carried away her weeping. She looked up to the sky, and it seemed to change from its winter hue to the lively colors of spring. Haru wished from the bottom of her heart. She wished that someday, somewhere, their promise would be fulfilled. She wished for a reunion between two innocent angels, without any heed at all to fathers or sins. She wished for a glimpse of gentle spring in her life of winter. You trying to break my heart? 'Cause it's working. Usami was muttering something. Tears rolled from her eyes. It was almost like she was trying to tickle my conscience. Usami. A tinge of headache came on. The strength in my grip weakens ever so slightly. The softness in me I thought I killed reared its head. A father is a father, and a daughter is a daughter. What sin has Usami Haru committed? Shut up, Usami. But she didn't stop calling for Kyosuke. No matter how much you cry or wail, Kyosuke isn't coming! I froze my heart. That's right. I'm Maou. A man who sought salvation and revenge and threw away everything else in its name. I'm different from that good-for-nothing Azai Kyosuke. I began to wring her neck again. This time, I'll kill her. I moan and sway as I crush this life in my hands. Die, Usami. I hear the sound of footsteps fighting through the darkness. I hear rough breaths, betraying a powerful desperation. He's close by. He? It seems he's come for me. I see. I thought I was being followed. That was him? That unfilial betrayer, the adopted son of Azai Gonzo. What? 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 I called him at midnight in order to bait Gonzo. He must have lost it. I was supposed to have been dead after all. I meant to kill the traitor. When I found out he was acting as a rep for Azai's front business, I went mad with rage. The damn weakling, getting too big for his boots. Nevertheless, the footsteps I hear hold no hesitation. A far cry indeed from the delusional boy I called earlier tonight. He'd gone so far off the deep end that he believed himself to be Maou. So that's how it is. I put my life on the line while he sat around fostering his love. Let her go! He shouted at me. Don't lay a finger on Usami! You're fucking serious right now. Are they being serious? Maou and Kyosuke are two different people? What? What the fuck? How? Everything in the story that I've seen up until this point. Every single little thing. The memory blackouts. How they happened. And a whole slew of other little details like that. Things that Maou would say. Okay, I'm just gonna calm down for a second. And just see where this goes. The tone in his voice seemed determined to protect this girl. You do know who you're speaking to, don't you? Yeah. Who does he think he is, interfering with my plans? The damn Kyosuke. Okay, no. No, I gotta object. I gotta fucking object. How is this possible? Everything that I saw, from the entire game up until this point, from how Kyosuke would suddenly flash out of consciousness, and Maou would take over, the constant headaches, even stuff like that happening right when it seems like it's right in his fucking apartment, and then he goes to meet, and then he leaves that apartment, goes to meet Tokiya after that. I know I'm not explaining this very well, but I'm just flustered, okay? I don't even know where, I'm not even sure where to start with this. All the contradictions and are just now raising in my mind. Where do I start? How the hell can they be two different people? Like I was saying, the way Kyosuke's memory, the way he'd lose consciousness throughout the entire story, often precedes appearances with Maou. And there was often times throughout the story, like during the ice skating competition with Kanan and the ensuing bombing, Kyosuke losing consciousness, leaving that apartment building, and then meeting up with Tokiya straight after. And other scenes like that. Along with other things that I remember him saying, like in alternate characters' routes. And I just saw something else now, but I'll get to that in a minute. Like things he would say to Tokiya about how it was a mistake for her to show up at their school. Like, as though he was talking to himself, referring to himself as though he was the guy going to school. The guy, Kyosuke. And now, thinking about now, with how the other characters' routes tend to have Maou just vanish out of thin air. Once he started to settle down with them into their routes. That came off as like Maou, the alternate personality, just fading out of existence once Kyosuke formed a relationship with the other heroines, because his relationship with them ended up stabilizing his psyche and his moral conscience. After which Maou just vanishes off the face of the damn earth, like he's a freaking phantom. If Maou was actually a completely separate human being from Kyosuke, then what sense does it make for him to vanish like that in the other heroine's routes? And then the headaches. He gets them too. Maou does. What the fuck is going on here? Okay. I'm sure I could have done a better job explaining my objections a little more if I had a little bit more time to really think everything I want to say through, but this is on the fly. I'm pretty flustered right now. I really should just continue, and if there's more plot holes that this revelation has ended up creating that I can think of, I'll think about them later. And voice my objections to them when appropriate. So for now, I apologize for that long rant, but to say that I am both confused and upset by this revelation would be a little bit of an understatement. Let's continue. Opposing me, Samejima Kyohei. I remember. The words I said that day so long ago stayed with me, though I had forgotten why. The waves peacefully swayed as we stood on the docks. The girl was just about to board her ship. I asked the girl a question. Hey, what's your name?
勇者は勇者よ。
Tell me.
じゃあ、私が本当の勇者になったら教えてあげる。
Oh? You're not a real hero yet?
うん。
She must have thought herself immature for not having the courage to be honest. Alright. I got it then. I flashed a toothy grin. So you're going to be a hero, huh?
うん。
Then now. I, as I Kyosuke will. Look at this shit! Look at this shit! They have a similar facial structure! Similar hairdo! How was I supposed to tell that they were different people? Even some of the CG scenes featuring this guy had his eyes obscured. Even the hair color was the same at one point, like Kyosuke's. Why is his hair colored? I'll become your comrade and protect you, hero.
Kyosuke.
Kyohei Nissan. No, Maou. Well, so wait. So you faked your death, then? In that subway bombing? Was that your doing? Did you cause a subway bombing just to fake your own death? I take a step forward. Let Osami go. Your evil deeds end here. Maou looks up at me firmly. His eyes bear powerful hatred.
これまでだと?
I've already contacted Sonoyama Group. You're nowhere left to run.
なかなか手際がいいな。養父を殺されて家でメソメソ泣いているかと思っていたぞ。
I'm not the boy I used to be. After seeing me, Usami slowly closed her eyes.
兄として弟の成長を嬉しく思うぞ。
I'm happy to see you too, Nissan. I thought you'd been blown to bits.
当時のロンドン死刑の評判を聞いたことがあるか？事故現場にパスポートを残しておけばあっさりと死んだことにしてくれたよ。
Why would you fake your own death?
私はお前と違ってやることがあるのでな。死んだことにした方が日本警察の目もごまかしやすいし、何より。
More importantly, you wanted to frame me by doing everything under the Azai name. Is that it?
正確には浅井と名乗っていたのだがな。まあ、それでもゴンゾーを含め大勢の人間がお前を魔王だと勘違いしてくれた。
I hate this plot twist so much right now. You must have had it easy thanks to that. Everyone seemed to suspect me after you blew up Gonzo's car.
なーに、車に爆弾など北アイルランドではよくある話だ。
Did you join up with terrorists?
似たようなものかな。
I suppose that's why you were able to use such dangerous equipment as rifles and military bombs.
あんなもの、中東では10歳の子供でも使える。
A long time has passed since my brother Kyohei disappeared. He's always been cold, despite the flaming passion within him.
京介、 お前はなぜ私に力を貸さない？よく聞け。父はたったの4人、それも死んで当然の人間を殺して死刑になったのだぞ。この国では何の罪もない幼児を惨殺しておいて極刑に至らない人間もいるそうじゃないか。
Is your aim to free Dad?
いかにもこの10年そのために準備を重ねてきたのだ。
Preparation. Righteous indignation crawled up my back. You're saying kidnapping Tsubaki's brother, killing Gonzo, and making Tokita your puppet was preparation? But Maou's smile was unfazed.
浅井ゴンゾーは死んで当然ではないか。母が心を壊したのは誰のせいだ？
That's true. I can't deny it.
椿はいい坊やだった。汚れを知らぬ娘は簡単に悪に染まる。もう少し時間があれば時田と同じように仲間に加えてやったものを。
What did you intend to do with these children you gathered up?
それを今話すのは面白くないな。
He's arrogant to the bitter end. The genius brother I once knew had apparently nurtured his talent only for evil.
京介、今からでも遅くはない。私に従い、一緒に父さんを救おうじゃないか。
Not a chance in hell! I shout my rejection to myself as much as him. And if you care to know why, I stare at Usami, the young hero. She saved me when I was all alone. Even if it was only for a moment, she let me taste spring. It's because you toyed with my woman, Maou! Okay. Well, I mean, hey. She's got squid hair. You find her disgusting, but I guess she is your disgusting squid hair woman. Yeah, I'm trying to bring a little bit of humor into this because if I don't, I'm still gonna be focusing all my emotion towards the anger I'm feeling right now towards this big plot twist that's staring me right in the face. He tore apart her friendship with Tsubaki and Tokita, all in the name of his little game. And now he's trying to take her very life. I'll say it once more. Take your hands off of Usami. What did she ever do to you?
失望したぞ、京介。
Maou slowly stood up.
お前は父の面会に足を運んだのか？
He's got me where it hurts.
父の無念をなぜ分かってやらない？過去の闇を捨て都合よく生きようなどとおこがましいにも程がある。
His mockery was interrupted by countless footsteps resounding from the darkness behind me. Several thick Yakuza accents bellowed Son, Kyosuke-san, and the like.
京介、この場は引いてやる。
Maou smiled in condescension and let go of Usami. He must have concluded that taking Usami hostage would have no effect on the Soniyama group, whose single goal was to avenge their boss.
だが次に会う時は死を覚悟しておけ。
A frightening resentment was in his eyes.
家族と人間のクズはいくらでも両立する。仇の娘に惚れた男などもはや弟でも何でもない。
Remember this. Maou ran into the darkness. I couldn't run after him. He might have laid traps around, but more importantly, I couldn't just leave Usami there unconscious. Even this darkness couldn't hide the fact that her face had lost all color. Hey, Usami! I lift Usami's upper body a bit and lightly slap her cheeks.
京介か。
Are you alright? I was just in the nick of time.
来てくれたんだ。 り京介君は
Her head dropped. Seemed she lost consciousness again.
私の勇者
Her innocent face bore similarity to the girl I met so long ago. I gently hold her hand. Of all her cold body, there alone felt as warm as the spring sun. Well, I guess we're going to be having yet another confrontation with my apparently not split personality later on. Yay. So, I think now is a good time as any to just stop things here for now. And I guess we'll just get back to wherever the hell this whole thing's gonna end up going in the next episode. But I'm sorry for that long impassioned rant I had, but I was invested, and I am invested. I still am invested in this story, in spite of all this. I still want to see where this thing goes. But goddamn do I not like this plot twist at all, that Maou, or Kyohei rather, and Kyosuke are actually two different people. And that the entire previous three-fourths of the game had been doing a very effective job at making me believe that they were both the same person. So effective, in fact, that this plot twist creates a lot of freaking plot holes, in retrospect. A lot of which I haphazardly laid out during that rant, but, I mean, they're there. Can't really just, that's just something I can't really just ignore. All the problems that this is causing for the plot in retrospect. Kind of feels like a massive cop-out on the writer's part, if you ask me. Also seriously wasted potential from a story front. But I guess I'll get to that. I'll get to that particular point later on in a future episode, because I don't want to waste too much time on this right now. We're not even at the end of this series yet. In which case, I'll save my final judgment for this entire game then, along with me going into detail as to why I think this is a massive waste of potential, not having Maou and Kyosuke as the same person. Jiminy Christmas. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of The Devil on G-String. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.